Hey everybody, this is Val. Today I'm posting like a just a free for all sort of a daily vlog type thing, except this won't actually be daily because I'm not a maniac. Uh, I can't do this daily, but this is just a sort of miscellaneous catching up post. Hope you're all doing well. Um, so what's happening in the news today? I thought this was a good time to actually record this because um, X, Twitter, it's really called Twitter. It's not X. X, it keeps crashing. It keeps crashing this morning, so I figured this was like a sign to to slowly install my footprint in another social media platform. Like, you because I mean, X is like in this weird place where it's like it's a it's part of the mechanism of politics now. I mean, isn't it? I mean, it's like like it is. It's like like I mean, the first thing I thought of when like X was crashing like this morning and stuff, I was just thinking, like it's there are whole ass countries who think that like X is like a tool of the American Satan or something, and are just trying to get it pulled down. I mean, there's people in this country, who see it as just a political tool, want to get it pulled down, and I mean, X is wild. Um, I don't agree with everything that's on X, but I will say that I'm surprised there there's as much free speech on it as there is. I'm not saying it's perfect free speech by any stretch of the imagination, or that there's not like sorts of censorship stuff going on that we don't even know about, but I'm saying just the amount of anti Elon Musk stuff on Elon Musk's own platform, that I mean that it's kind of allowed to go on, and which it should. I mean, if this is a free speech, society and everything like that, but it's interesting, like I feel like if he had a heavier hand, it'd be like nothing. There'd just be like, there'd just be like somebody like they like a few people just like hired to just look at every incoming tweet, for Elon and be like, oh, it said something nuanced bad about Elon. I'm gonna get the delete. Like it doesn't seem like he has that, but maybe I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass. I have no idea. But anyway, yeah. I mean, anyway, long story short, I'm just trying to go in other platforms and stuff. I recently sort of like reactivated my Facebook. Like my Facebook wasn't shut down or anything. I didn't shut it down. I just left. I just like like I a couple of years ago I was just like here's a post of like a an old vintage toy of a garbage dump, and it wasn't meaningful. Like I wasn't making a point about the garbage dump, or something like that. But I was just like, here's posting something interesting, and I'm just, and so then it's like I was like I need to go back on these platforms and stuff. So I've been on Facebook, and it's Facebook's an interesting platform. It's I apparently had joined a lot of doll collecting groups uh, the last time I was on Facebook, so they all just keep popping up. Like, hey, I'm selling my collection for $1,100. Would you like to buy it? No, no. Is it possible to have too many Barbie dolls? Yes. Um, is it possible to have too many dolls? Yes. I don't think I have even close to too many dolls. Um, People that I follow on YouTube, doll collectors, like I have like 1/33 of what they have. But I mean, how many dolls can you buy? How many dolls can you have? So that's really I don't know how I got to that. Oh, because Facebook. So yeah, Facebook, and then Instagram. I just sort of didn't know what I was doing with that, and I mostly go on there. Well, again, the fashion dolls. but also it's mostly now just like looking at like videos, short videos of like 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 sort of like these rodent creatures that are now pets and stuff like that, which is fine. I mean, I think that's great, rodent creatures as pets, but like prairie dogs in sports shirts and stuff, which I mean, literally, it's just like it's like this is my prairie dog wearing like a Hawaiian shirt. It's got buttons and it's got like a collar, and it's like it's a beautifully tailored Hawaiian shirt. And there's music in the background, and then they have one. There's one thing on Instagram. These videos of I don't know if you've seen it. It's Stefan the cat, and it's like this unusually sexy cat. I swear to you, the cat has an unusually sensual face. I mean, you would know it if you saw it. And they play that up in the video, and it's like always like like sort of like seduction music almost, and it's just like and it and they'll just have stuff on like like he's in bed, he's like fuck. He's like laying down in bed, like like the pillow behind him, just like the sheet over him, and he's just like, and they're playing like there's this Stefan music, and then they'll have like, and it's like and he's like followed by like 2 billion people and stuff. So that's pretty much, and so the squirrels, the squirrel videos, um, squirrels, which are kind of like the new cats. I guess it's like this neighborhood I'm living in, like I go like I'm walking, going grocery shopping or something, and I see like a cat, and I'm like, what I do like what I would normally do is like I just go like hey guy, hey kitten, and this and that, and they just sort of. I don't know what it is about this neighborhood, but it's just like these cats are like, what is that skit from King of the Hill with the kid? Is it Bobby or whatever? He's like, I don't know you. I don't know you. Hands off my purse. That's how these cats are like. But the squirrels, on the other hand, are like, the squirrels are just like, like, hey, how's it going? I'm a squirrel. You know, it's like they'll just be like maintaining eye contact. Like you'll be walking down the street and they'll just be jumping from thing to thing, following you and stuff. So the squirrels are great. Um, the cats, not so much. The cats are like, no, that's that's not your purse. I don't know you. So and how did I get to the cats? All right, Instagram, right? So yeah. So anyway, yeah, just trying to stretch out my reach, and what else? And I made a list. I made a list of in my book of topics here that we can cover together and have a good uh, hearty chuckle over. Let's see. All right. So there are all these memes about what's his name? Vance? That guy? Is it JD Vance? Is that the guy's name? Yeah, excuse me if like I'm a little fuzzy on this stuff. It's just like like it's just like it was Oscars night. Was it like last week? And it was just like, oh, the Oscars. Is the Oscars on tonight? You know, these movies. I have not seen them. But JD Vance. Where was I? JD Vance. Um. So basically, there these memes started on JD Vance making fun of the way he looks like and making him look like sort of like a troll and like these big staring eyes and his big chubby cheeks and then they make like the forehead and then like the hair and it's just like it's like JD Vance is a weirdo and a creep and everything. And then the right wingers started making these like they started making these memes based off that, and then it would sort of be like all these sort of heroic memes of JD Vance's face like on like freaking Lincoln and like Roman leaders, and I would get I was gonna say Elvis. I didn't see an Elvis JD Vance meme though. I know that Trump posted his own Elvis Trump meme. That's a story for another day. I haven't fully wrapped my head around that. But the so basically they I guess the right wing social media or whatever, instead of just sort of backing off from the Vance memes, embraced it, completely embraced it, and they still had like some of the ugly Vance memes. There was one meme. There was one meme of like a selection thing of like I think like their heads were all the Vance meme heads were all in a jar, like in jars on this big shelf. You had the ugly ones and you had like the sexy ones and you had all the ones. And so they the right sort of embrace this. And then I guess today I saw there was like an article in the Atlantic. Like I don't understand. This was meant to hurt JD Vance, and I don't understand why the right is embracing it instead of being hurt. And like I was like, I hope to Christ there's something more to this article than this title, than the description of this article. Like, I don't understand how that works. It's why are they not hurt? Like I'm not a right winger, but I mean, my goodness, like you don't understand. I mean, like Biden pretty much called people who supported Trump garbage people. And then, like, the next day, Trump, who's almost as old as Biden, I mean, he's not like a spring chicken himself, is like jumping into like a sanitation truck and like, making it into a joke. It's basically making it into a meme that everybody who was supposed to be insulted ended up loving. And then he became president of the United States. So, you know, I'm not a Republican. It would be great if the Democrats really sort of got things together and had a really good shot in the next 4 years. But if they don't understand this, if they don't understand, like literally don't understand, just nothing, like why the JD Vance memes failed to 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 take out Vance, then that's a big problem. That's a big problem. Like that's a big problem. So I was just utterly fascinated by that. Like I just and then meanwhile Gavin Newsom was like going off on his own to sort of like, he just wants to be president no matter what. So he's like just I guess he was talking to like had this interview with like Charlie Kirk, like, oh my God. And Charlie Kirk, I believe that's like a Republican pundit or news guy or whatever, and it's just like, like Newsom saw the writing on the wall, so he's just like, I want to be president no matter what. And so that's like, like then other Democrats like, oh, this guy's like, I'm going to call him New Scum, which is what the Republicans called him. Now the Democrats started calling him New Scum, but they don't get it. Like they just like they alienated him. That's like another thing, like another Democrat sort of thing that probably needs to be worked on a little bit is like they alienate people within their own party. Like completely alienate. It's like, who's going to be the candidate for the next, for 2024, right? Like who's going to be the candidate? It's just like, probably, they probably should have really like cultivated Newsom, right? Like they really should have and they should have made a decision of someone like earlier and really cultivate a person. And Newsom, I mean, love him or hate him, and I'm not a Newsom fan. I'm just telling you like it is. Like they should have just, but I think like, and they rebuffed him I mean, was he up for like the previous election when Biden was running? Like they alienate people. They get it in their head. There's got to be things got to be a certain way, and they alienate people within their own party, and then those people go off and become wild cards, and they end up on the Charlie Kirk show. And so that's like another thing that the Democrats really need to sit down and think about. Just to think about like, like just and also if somebody gives them helpful advice, or like trying to be like give them like constructive criticism, to not just blast them on social media or whatever and say that they're like, like they did to George Clooney and they even did to Rob Reiner. And wasn't it Rob Reiner, like, with the whole Biden stuff and everything? And it was like, and even Rob Reiner was like, I don't know if this is really good. We got to get to the bottom of this and this field. And they're like, and Rob Reiner was like the biggest cheerleader for Democrats that ever freaking lived. I mean, he's meathead from On the Family. I mean, this is how he's been his whole life. And then it was like other Democrats were like, you're disloyal. You're disloyal to the party. And it's like, and then, so if you're gonna like, you're gonna shout down George Clooney, you're gonna shout down Rob Reiner. I don't know. I'm just saying. I could be wrong, but that's what That's what I'm thinking. So there's the whole JD Vance thing, and I I I bought Hillbilly Elegy for $7 on Amazon on super sale when everything was first starting, just to see what this guy was about. I still haven't read it, but it's there on my shelf. I mean, do I think one day he'll be president? I think he has a good shot. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think he has a really good shot of being president. Um, and that's a video for a whole nother lifetime. But yeah, I do think he has a good shot. So it's all very interesting. But I mean, am I a stan of Vance? Am I a stan of Gavin Newsom? Am I a stan of Biden or stan of anyone? Not really at this point. No, I'm a stan of pretty much no one. Like, I mean, the only politician I regularly support on social media is Andrew Yang. That's about it. Andrew Yang, and then once in a while, like, Sengogior has some. If I've messed up that last name, I apologize. But I mean, it's like, because basically they're in the middle. They're looking at things at both sides. They're looking at things like each issue at both sides and trying to come to like a sort of a constructive thing. And they're not like doing like everything on this side or everything on that side. And that's pretty much who I'm like. And but some people can't handle that. You tell them like, yeah, I look, I'm sort of in the middle, like, I look at each thing, and they just flip the F out on you. They think you're Satan. It's just like, and those are the people that I try to avoid. That's one of my life strategies at this point. People like that, I try to just to avoid. I didn't want to fight with them. No, they've won. I'm not even going to engage in fighting with them. But it's, I'm middle of the road. Middle of the road. What else to talk about? Where's one more topic? I posted on X recently about the so-called, I'm going to say so-called Superman curse. I could do a whole video on it, but I'm just gonna mention it in passing out, and it was sort of spurred on by the the unfortunate passing of Gene Hackman, and just the way that whole thing went down. And just a sort of thing where it was like, they say like, there's a curse associated with the Superman movies and blippity boppity, but then it's like, but like certain Superman movies don't seem to be really genuinely touched by the curse. So it's like, is it really a curse, and this and that? So I was like researching it, right? And so the co-creator of Superman, Jerry Siegel, I think his name is Jerry Siegel. Everything's got to get. I have to go. Oh, I think his name is that. I think his name is. I think his name is Abraham Lincoln. I don't know. It might be just Abram Lincoln, Abraham Lycan. I don't know. but I think his name is Jerry Siegel, the co-creator, the writer, I believe, of Superman. So he co-creates this and then gets cut out of the royal, and he does this like, this is like back like in the 30s and 40s, and he gets cut out of the rights, right? And he's angry, and they're like, and the publisher DC Comics is like licensing Superman like crazy, and Siegel's not getting this money, and Siegel, like, he's like a futurist. He can see this is going to be, this is a character who's going to bring tons of money, and he doesn't really have the rights, so he's been cut off on it. And so like in 1951. He sends this letter to like DC Comics, so like the publisher, like to one of the big guys, and he's basically just, the letter's like, I put a curse on you. He puts in capital letters. He writes, I put a curse on you. And so that's 1951, and then 1952. The TV show New Adventures of Superman starts, and it's widely popular and stars George Reeves as Superman. And so, the first thing I'm thinking is like, did Siegel hear in the grapevine that they were going to make a TV series of Superman, so he was extra angry, and so he's like writing this, like he's making this extra angry letter with big cap, all in caps, like, I put a curse on you, I put a curse on Superman, like. But so you have this show, The Adventures of Superman, widely popular, and it runs from like, I think 52 to 58. And then in 59, George Reeves tragically dies at an early age of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, that's a whole other story for another lifetime that I'm not going to fully go into here, but it was like an extremely tragic, horrendous thing. And so then I'm like thinking, No, it can't be that Jerry, the seal, he did this thing, and it said like, you're cursed and everything, and then this horrible thing happened to the program, or like the star of the program. But then in 1975, there's news that like, they're gonna make a major motion picture. Warner Brothers is gonna make a major motion picture of Superman, and so Jerry Siegel, Mr. Cursey McCursepants, puts in this like open letter in like one of the trade magazines. It might have been Variety, but it might have been like one of the other trade magazines or whatever. Puts in this open letter, and he's like, "I place a curse on the Superman movie." And it's literally, I place a curse in the Superman movie, and and then this thing is printed. Everybody reads this. I mean, this is crazy sauce, right? So he does this, and you know what? I guess like short time later, with the help of artist Neil Adams, like he does get some of the rights money and stuff like that. But he puts this ad out. I place a curse in the Superman movie, and so these original Superman movies that's inspired him to put this curse in the trade magazine. The three main stars all passed away under tragic circumstances, like really tragic circumstances. Christopher Reeve got paralyzed falling off of the horse, and Margot Kidder, had bipolar and stuff like that, and I think she might have taken her own life. I'm not sure, but it's really sort of sad, tragic situation. And then this thing with Gene Hackman, and it's sort of like the three main stars, and I'm not even counting like all the sort of ancillary people. Like I'm not even counting like Marlon Brando, you know, um, who I think, who was it? Like he passed away around the same time Christopher Reeve passed away. I don't know, like there was some sort of thing. Marlon Brando, and then Richard Pryor, from Superman 3, and then there's the whole. It's just like a side note. I mean, there's that whole rumor about Marlon Brando and Richard Pryor. But I digress. This isn't that's a video for the lifetime. But I'm saying like I'm making me light of this stuff. But I mean like even like the kid who played the baby. Baby Cal in the Superman movies like died at the age of 14. Like I mean this seems kind of it just seems kind of, and then it's like I'm wondering, since now Jerry Siegel's done this twice, he's done this twice, but afterwards it's just like I mean, you can say there's other curses or unpleasantries attached to the other Superman projects, like what's his name? He directed the Superman Returns. Brian, what's his name? The guy, the guy, that guy. Is it Brian? Brian something, right? Anyway, like he got like all these allegations, and then like, you know, Zack Snyder, I think his daughter died, and like all this other stuff, like, but it's not. I'm just saying those could be part of the curse, but it's not that sort of really weird exact way that I think those two Jerry Siegel letters from like almost 25 years apart were, has sort of good. And so I guess what is the moral of the story? Well, one thing somebody pointed out to me on X was that curses don't exist. Curses don't exist, which may be true. Which may be true. They may not exist, or maybe they do. I don't know. Or maybe it's all in our head. Or maybe it's all just That brings up one last topic I want to talk about. I had written it down in my book there. So it's like, yeah, curses don't exist. These things they don't exist. All this weird woo-woo stuff. But this is the problem. The problem is that if you actually, like just sort of sit down and study contemporary science and quantum physics and things like that, the more you read about this stuff, the real hard science, the more it's kind of true. It's kind of like things like attracts like, and like all this sort of weird stuff. Like even go like the parallel Earths, all something like that. Like you keep reading quantum physics, right? And you keep reading these like so-called serious science stuff, and you'll get this. That's the weirdest shit. You'll find the weirdest shit there. Like I did that. Christ, like almost like 6, 7, 8 years ago. I just for like a couple months, I was just reading these so-called like, serious science sites and things, like Scientific American and stuff. Like not like the top 10 stuff, like science for the masses, top 10 viruses, but I mean like, like Scientific American and just like really hard science sort of stuff, like New Scientist, I think's another one. And if here's the thing, like if you keep reading that stuff, like the stuff that's supposed to be legitimate, right? Legitimate science, stuff that isn't always like broken down for you like easy. Like it's like some of this stuff where it's just like there's an abstract and then there's the whole paper, and it's like if you keep reading that stuff and you do that for even just like a couple weeks, you're gonna there's gonna be a lot of weird shit. It's gonna be brought up in the vastness of all those news stories, those science news stories, and it's just interesting to me. It's just like really funny. It's just like in the same way. It's like we're having all these things like about releasing the JFK files and the other files that I'm not gonna mention, but like we're releasing these things and this is really important and this is. But meanwhile, like my God, for at least 10 years, if not more, like our own government had online all these documents, all these declassified documents or partially declassified documents about how they took our tax money and paid for like people to like become psychic spies and stuff like that, remote viewing and all this crazy shit, and all the documents were there, and like I've looked through them, and it's funny because it's like if I tell someone that like just like sometimes I'll just tell a conversation with someone and tell them that, which is always like a great thing to do just in a random conversation, like did you know that the government released all these classified files about psychic detectives and everything like that, and the person's going to be like, that's crazy, like that never happened. I'm like, no, that did happen, that absolutely happened. Like they released these files. It doesn't mean that all the stuff that they were studying is true, but they did spend a lot of taxpayer money on that stuff. And why would they do that if they didn't feel there was some validity? Well, who knows? But I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, our government initiatives now is like based on the what is it, like a meme, like the Dogecoin and stuff like that. I mean, like who thought that was going to happen? Like it's a brave new world, folks. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. I'm just trying to fix this hair. I do have to get a haircut at some point. I try to get a haircut once every couple years. I've discovered after all these decades that the easiest, most effective haircut is to just really let it grow long, uh, and just trim it once in a blue moon with little to no layers, and just use a decent shampoo and conditioner. That's something that's the only thing there. You really got to use. You can't do the dollar like suave things. Like you got to just do something slightly like one step above, just because it's a lot of hair, and it's a lot of hair, folks. It's a lot of hair. I need a haircut. So anyway, I hope you're all great, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I just rambled, and this is either going to be, let's see how much time has passed. Oh, almost a half an hour. It's either going to be awesome or terrible, but let me know either way. Okay, take care, folks. Get the button. Okay, take care, folks. Talk to you later. Bye.